And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to a very special Experience Hockey Talk, serious hockey talk for serious hockey fans. And it is the NHL Trade Deadline special. It's that one night of the year where I actually get to bring people on a non-Saturday to have some fun talking hockey. And as I've been mentioning on Twitter and on Facebook, ladies and gentlemen, from the Tilted Ice podcast, which is part of Forever Blue Shirts, the New York Rangers blog, Zach Scheiger. Zach, welcome back on, man.
Thank you for having me back.
And then also, you remember her from our Twitch debut from the Connecticut Whale in the National Women's Hockey League, Sophia Agostinelli. I hope I said that right.
That was good.
Okay, good. As long as I'm not getting castrated for that one. Sorry, Zach. If I mess up her name, I legitimately die. You know, it's
all good.
But today the NHL Trade Deadline has come and gone. We've had some very interesting things. Obviously, Zach, I wanted somebody from Tilted Ice to be on because there was a lot involving the New York Rangers with this trade deadline. And Sophia, if I remember right, when we had you on, you mentioned that you were a Boston Bruins fan.
Yes, and there's quite a few trades between us and the Rangers, right?
Yes, so I think this right here is what we call a very, very good start to our show by saying, hey, we got Rangers and we got Bruins, and we're going right into it. So we're going to backtrack a few days, though. We're actually going to go back to February 22nd when New York Rangers traded Michael Grabner to the New Jersey Devils for defenseman prospect Yegor Rykov and a second-round pick in the 2018 NHL Draft. Zach, what are your thoughts and everyone else's thoughts at Tilted Ice in regards to this trade by the Rangers to a division rival, New Jersey Devils?
As far as it being a division rival, I said today on our show today, if it were a different situation where the playoffs were involved and both teams were playing well, I would have been a lot more upset about it. But the Ranger season has been over for probably a few weeks now. You're talking about a team that has been in full rebuild mode essentially for the last couple of weeks. So when you consider that the Rangers got back a solid defensive prospect and a draft pick for a guy who's going to be on the Devils for a couple of months, it's a really good job by the Rangers management.
Do you see the Rangers re-signing Grabner during the offseason?
He said he wants to come back. I would take him back. He's had something like 50 goals in his year and a half with the team. He's a guy with speed. He's going to be, if he comes back, he's a good guy to have around his veteran leadership, a guy who's been around the NHL for a while. And if he can keep up that level of play, the Rangers might not be a very good team the next couple of years, but they'll at least have some NHL talent going through their rebuild.
Right. And then coming up, that happened Saturday, the Pittsburgh Penguins acquired forward Derek Brassard, Vincent Dunn, Tobias Lindbergh, Ottawa's 2018 third-round draft pick. And then the Ottawa Senators acquired Ian Cole, goalie prospect Philip Gustafson, a 2018 first-round pick, and Pittsburgh's 2019 third-round pick. And Vegas acquired forward Ryan Reason, the 2018 fourth-round pick, which was Pittsburgh from Vancouver. Interesting fact, though, is that Vegas is retaining 40% of Derek Brassard's salary in this deal. Real quick, Sophia, what are your thoughts about Pittsburgh acquiring Derek Brassard and getting some really good prospects out of this deal?
I think they could use it. I haven't heard much from the Penguins really this season. I mean, how are they doing?
Tied for second place in the Metropolitan Division, but the Philadelphia Flyers have a game in hand on them, which is why Philly actually technically has second and Pittsburgh technically has third.
I see. So that's actually not that bad then.
All right, and it's Pittsburgh. I mean, obviously, Zach, you and I, we have to deal with Pittsburgh as division rivals. Do you think Derek Brassard could be that piece that can help the Penguins become a three-peat champion and the first one that do that since the 80s?
There's no doubt he gives the team a lot of added roster depth down the middle. You're talking about a team that already had Crosby and Malkin. Now you have Brassard, who's a big game player. His nickname when he was with the Rangers was Big Game Brass. So you're talking about a guy who's made his mark in the NHL by being a playoff performer, and you certainly can't take it lightly. Having watched him play for a few years with the Rangers, I know what he can do. So, it's the Penguins are to repeat second time, and
right. Now, yesterday was probably one of the bigger days of the trade leading up to this trade deadline, and it all started off at 8:30 in the morning, essentially, when the Boston Bruins acquired forward Rick Nash from the New York Rangers in exchange for forwards Ryan Spooner and Matt Bolesky, defenseman Ryan Lindgren, and Boston's first-round pick in this year's draft, as well as its seventh-round pick this year as well. Boston is going to be retaining 50% of Matt Bolesky's salary. The Rangers are going to retain 50% of Rick Nash's salary in this deal. Sophia, what are your thoughts on the Boston Bruins picking up Rick Nash, which also on the same day from the U.S. Olympic hockey team signed Brian Giunta?
I just went to a Rangers game last night, and I could kind of see that they definitely are going through a rebuilding time, right? So Rick Nash hasn't been producing that much recently for the Rangers, I think, this season. But he's a big guy, and I think that without having that pressure of having to be a performer, being on the Bruins team, I think he's going to shine.
All right. And and one thing I've noticed in watching Rangers games is that the Rangers, or Rick Nash specifically, it's like he's getting all the opportunities. It's just he's not able to cash in on those opportunities. And one thing I definitely think is that maybe a change of scenery will help his game out a little bit, because sometimes when you're in the same setting for a while, especially when you've been going to the playoffs for as many years as you have with one team, and then all of a sudden you're now in this downslide, mentally it can get to you, and so a change of scenery definitely helps. But for you, Zach, you guys got Ryan Spooner and Matt Bolesky and Ryan Lindgren. Spooner obviously playing last night for the team, or did Spooner play last night?
Yeah, he played.
Yeah.
So Spooner actually had a couple of assists, which was nice to see. But the thing with Nash was, it was last year also. He was getting his chances. He wasn't able to convert. The last few weeks, he was actually starting to get that goal scoring touchback, and on the Rangers blogosphere, it was hashtag trade value, because every time he scored, he was just sweetening the deal that the Rangers would get back. The problem with Nash for the Rangers was more monetary in my mind, because and his contract is not that years UFA. So you're talking about a guy who, if they would bring him back, have to have a significant discount, and let the guy potentially walk free is nonsensical. So they got a good deal. They got a good return, I should say. I don't know if it's a good deal. I'm a Rangers fan. That center is a solid forward, can play all three forward positions. Bolesky is Bolesky. just no one's going to be upset about it. And Lindgren looks like a real good defensive prospect. He was solid for the U.S. At the juniors. So we can only wait and see what he turns into. And then a couple more draft picks, which for a team that's building is certainly important.
Yeah, and I saw that once this, and we'll talk more about the trade that came out after the 3 p.m. deadline. After you include that trade that happened, the Rangers, I believe, have 11 picks in the first 3 rounds of this year's draft.
I think it's 10, but either way, it's a lot.
Yeah, they have the most. And you guys were joking about hashtag trade value. One guy who is definitely working on his trade value as well is Tomas Plekanec of the Montreal Canadiens, or should I say of now the Toronto Maple Leafs. Yesterday, the Toronto Maple Leafs acquired Tomas Plekanec and Kyle Bond from Montreal in exchange for forward Kirby Reichel and defenseman Rene Velev and a second-round pick in the 2018 NHL Draft. Obviously, this is a Montreal. One could say that the New York Rangers, obviously, they're in rebuild mode, but one can't say that the Rangers are necessarily tanking. This right here, with trading away Tomas Plekanec and then trying to trade away Max Pacioretty, which did not happen, shows more of a Montreal Canadiens team that is trying to tank in the standings even worse than they are right now, which is kind of hard to do because Buffalo's even worse, and so is Arizona. So,
worst.
Oh man, Arizona. Talk about all that.
The worst. I mean, the Avalanche is kind of pretty bad too, but I mean.
No, Avalanche. Hold on, let me. Hold on. I actually do have the NHL. I can get out of the Caps game right now because that's a dumpster fire right now. Let's see here. Let me pull up the standings real quick, shall we? Welcome to the Experience Hockey Talk, where we actually just change everything that we're going to do anyways live. Why not? Go away, Google Chrome. Leave me alone. Let me do my job. Alright, let's see here. Let's go to the West. Colorado is 4 points out of a wild card spot. They are in 61 games played, are 32-24-5 with 69 points. Calgary is 63 games played, which means Colorado has 2 games in hand, or 32-22-9 with 73 points. In their division, they won't be able to catch anyone in their division because Minnesota has 77 points, and they have 1 game in hand on them, but I don't see them catching them for the 3rd spot, but they are definitely 4 points outside of a wild card spot right now. Now, Arizona, on the other hand, is 18-34-10 with 46 points, and Vancouver is 24-31-7 with 55 points. And one of the surprises is actually Edmonton at 27-31-4 with 58 points. You would have thought that they would have had a bit more of an uptick. And then Montreal right now is 23-29-9 with 55 points. Whereas the Rangers are at 27-30-6 with 60 points right now. So, Colorado ain't doing bad for themselves right now, and they totally won that Matt Duchene trade, too. That happened earlier in the season. So, but, then also, speaking of the Washington Capitals dumpster fire game, they're actually currently taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets, who yesterday acquired Mark Letestu, who did score in this game today, from the Nashville Predators in exchange for a 4th-round pick in a 2018 NHL Draft. Letestu had actually been earlier traded by the Predators, or to the Predators by the Edmonton Oilers for Pontus Aberg. And what is one can consider a very interesting trade, seeing Nashville trade Pontus Aberg, being how he was one of the key components, especially on the youth side of things, that helped them get to the Stanley Cup Finals last season. Zach, what are your thoughts on Pontus Aberg now being an Edmonton Oiler?
I liked him a little bit with the Predators. I thought it was a nice piece. The Oilers, I don't see them doing much this year in terms of the playoffs. They're not really living up to the hype, so to speak. They got a lot to figure out. But as far as a player going forward, I think it's a nice pickup. I do like, however, Letet too. That one. Just guy's gonna get in the corner and play the quote unquote old school hockey that that you need sometime during the season.
Right. And then, of course, then we have another Columbus Blue Jackets trade. He's also playing in this game, but he hasn't been an impact player like Mark Letestu has. And that is the Columbus Blue Jackets acquired defenseman Ian Cole from the Ottawa Senators in exchange for forward Nick Mottry and a third-round pick in 2020. And I'm actually going to hop up real quick. That was a minor league trade. Yeah, I think that was it. But, oh no, there was one more trade. And that was the Columbus Blue Jackets acquiring forward Thomas Vanek from Vancouver in exchange for Tyler Mott and Jussi Jokinen. Obviously, when you look at the trades that Columbus has made, Thomas Vanek not playing in this game tonight, this is a Columbus team who is now going all in because they're trying to get that last wild card spot, maybe the first wild card spot in the Eastern Conference. Sophia, when you look at these type of moves that Columbus has made in the current, as I look over, and the people on Twitch, you could see me watching the Capitals game at the same time on my tablet. This dumpster fire of a game for the Capitals, but what is considered a very good game for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Sophia, what do you think about these series of moves that Columbus has made?
So I think since I've started following the NHL, which actually wasn't that long ago, the Columbus Blue Jackets have been the most improved NHL team, and they are really striving to be better. And I mean, I was tuning in last year when they were having, how many games in a row did they win? They won like a crazy amount, like 17 or 18.
Oh, they got at least a point in 17 or 18. But yeah, they went on some ridiculous run last season, especially near the end of the season. They went on it.
Yeah, so I feel they definitely have to make this push, and they could be a team that would be not just a wild card like on paper, but like a wild card team that could, go to the Stanley Cup championship.
And that would actually be that definitely is a good sleeper pick. Another good sleeper pick that a lot of people won't talk about, and our good friend Shaggy, which by the way, Shaggy says hello, Sophia.
Thomas said hi back.
The Carolina Hurricanes is another team that a lot of people need to keep an eye out for, because that is a very competitive team right there for the in the Metropolitan Division and Eastern Conference as well. Now, one trade that came out that nobody knows about is and if we have to have our little bit of comedy here, ladies and gentlemen, San Jose Sharky, the mascot of the San Jose Sharks, traded his cherry fruit roll-up and some apple slices to Bailey of the Los Angeles Kings for his chocolate snack pack and some carrot sticks. Hashtag.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I mean, Sharky got chocolate.
I know. Why would you trade those things?
Well, apparently they got hungry. It was lunchtime, and they needed some food. So, how would you break this?
Give up my chocolate.
So how would you break down this trade, Sophia?
You can't give a fruit for chocolate. It's just not fair.
Well, what about the apple slices for the carrot sticks? Or do they just get sent down to the minors and you just disregard them completely?
They're trash.
Okay.
Throw them out.
Zach, how do you feel about that trade?
I absolutely agree 100% with Sophia.
All right. Sounds good. And now that we had our lighthearted moment of the show, the St. Louis Blues traded Paul Stastny to the Winnipeg Jets for left winger Eric Foley and a conditional pick in the 2018 NHL draft and a conditional pick in 2020. A lot of people were really surprised about this. Yes, St. Louis is in a 6-game slide right now, but looking at the standings, they are 1 point of a wild card spot. They're 34-25-4 with 72 points. As I mentioned, Calgary's 32-22-9 with 73 points. So St. Louis is still in the playoff picture, but they traded away, one of their top centers in this. So, Zach, I got to ask you, what are your thoughts in regards to St. Louis trading away Paul Stastny, besides the fact that we know that this is a massive win for the Winnipeg Jets, who are going to be one of the toughest teams to play in the Western Conference during the playoffs?
So I haven't really been keeping tabs on St. Louis so much, just to be honest. But look, anytime you trade away a big player like a Paul Stastny, it's usually to signify something else is happening. Now, whether that something else is that the team is kind of, not the team, but management has kind of given up on the season, saying, if we make the playoffs, great. If not, we're already looking towards the future. That's certainly a possibility. But trading a guy like Paul Stastny, who has been not a landmark, but a guy who's been known as a St. Louis Blue for the last few years, is certainly nothing to be taken lightly. As for the Jets, it's a great trade for them. It gives them one of the deepest forward groups in the NHL if they didn't have that already. They said as much on Trade Center today on the TSN. So the Jets are really making the push for their first cup since coming back to Winnipeg.
Yeah, and Winnipeg right now with 62 games played is 37-16-9 with 83 points. They're 2 points behind Nashville in the Central Division. So they definitely, unless they go on a massive sputter, which I don't see that happening, Winnipeg will definitely have either the first or the second spot of the Central Division locked up at the end of the season. Now, we could talk about this. This will actually be the last. Actually, no, there's two trades that I want to talk about. The first one is Detroit trading left winger Tomas Tatar to Vegas for Vegas' first-round pick in 2018, the Islanders' second-round pick in 2019, which the Golden Knights previously acquired, and Vegas' third-round pick in 2021. Obviously, Tomas Tatar, he brings some scoring. He brings a little bit more depth to a Vegas Golden Knights team, which is interesting because when we all saw Vegas do their expansion draft, and we all saw them how, everyone was saying, oh, come this time, they'd be sellers because they're going to be trying to bring in picks and all this other stuff. It's kind of the opposite right now for Vegas because they're currently first place in the Western Conference, and let's see where Tampa Bay is in the standings. Tampa Bay has 87 points. Vegas has 86 points. So Vegas is second in the league and first in the West. Obviously they needed to pick up a couple pieces for their playoff push. One, for you, Zach, we haven't talked about Vegas in a while, but did you expect to see Vegas where they are now, let alone going into the trade deadline being more of a buyer than a seller?
I mean, no one ever expects an expansion team to be leading the league or leading a conference so this late in the season. But my thought on Vegas was that you're talking about a team of, it's like that classic movie scene where you've got the team of misfits that nobody wants that rises up to become, the champions. And, these are the players that the teams are okay with getting rid of. They have the extra chip on their shoulders for that. And also, Gerard Gallant's done a fantastic job getting his team to this point in the season. We'll see if they can finish it out. As far as goes, he's got great hands. He's got a lot of speed. Pick up for Jordan in the night.
Right, and the same question for you, Sophia. Seeing a team like this, they're setting all these types of records and stuff like that for an inaugural season team. When you first heard Vegas was coming in the league, you saw their expansion draft roster, and now seeing where they are now, what were your initial thoughts, and what are your thoughts now of this team?
Well, my thoughts were that, when you make a team, you have a fresh start, and you can kind of lay down the boundaries for what you want in the future. And, all these other teams, they have all these old players and old connections, but starting afresh like that can really be beneficial, and it's really worked out for them. And, now with the trade deadline and all that stuff over with, I just feel like, why change something that's working? And I think that's kind of like, it makes sense not to make any huge trades for them.
Right. And then the last trade I want to talk about from the deadline, we're going to do a little bit of, I got to do a little bit of Caps talk, but I'm saving it for the end of this show. New York Rangers traded Ryan McDonagh and JT Miller to Tampa Bay for Vladislav Namestnikov, Libor Hajek, Brett Howden, Tampa Bay's first-round pick in this year's draft, which will probably be a very high pick anyways, and a conditional pick in 2019. And apparently the first-round pick is also a conditional pick as well. Zach, what's with the Rangers constantly doing these trades to the Tampa Bay Lightning, or when you guys let guys go, they go to the Tampa Bay Lightning? You've had Ryan Callahan, you've had Dan Girardi, you've had probably a couple other guys, and now it's like Ryan McDonagh and JT Miller. Is there something special about the Rangers and Tampa Bay that they just like to trade with each other all the time?
I don't know, but as far as the deal today, you've got, so the draft picks were this year. I thought it was unconditional, and that
they might have changed it to an unconditional, but when it was first announced, it was announced as a conditional as well.
So then the pick in 2019 is a second rounder conditional on that if the Lightning win the Cup in the next 2 years, it turns into a first rounder in 2019.
Yeah.
Look, we said it today on our show, which you can check out on iTunes and wherever else you get your podcast. But look, McDonagh had a year left on his contract. Whether or not he's going to be on the team after next year was unknown to a lot of fans. Jake was a restricted free agent this summer, so his future was also in doubt. Get back to the two of Miller, player in Mesnikov. They've had similar point productions. Domestic top line. They have Kucherov this season. Libor Hayek is a top defensive prospect from the Czech Republic who's playing in the WHL. He had 8 points in the World Juniors playing alongside Ranger prospect Beetle. We talked about Brett Howden, who's been tearing up the WHL and was solid for Team Canada in the tournament. So the Rangers got a really good haul for two players that it stings as a fan, but it ultimately gets the process moving with this rebuild. And hopefully the Rangers can turn all these draft picks as close to NHL ready as possible so the rebuild takes a little bit less time.
Right. And of course, obviously, one of the surprise names that got traded was Vladislav Namestnikov. But as I think it was Pierre LeBrun who did the tweet, where it was like the ace in the hole was Vladislav Namestnikov from Tampa Bay, and that's how you got Ryan McDonagh right there. I know the Capitals were kicking the tires with the Rangers about Ryan McDonagh, and I made it very known. And you probably saw my tweets when certain Capitals blogs were going about getting Erik Karlsson, which who did not move in this trade deadline. I said no, the Capitals should not go after Erik Karlsson, but I'll go on that in my rant in a little bit. But right now, I actually want to shift the focus. And Sophia, I'm going to be leaning more heavily on you on this one. And that is the U.S. women's winning gold in the Olympics. Mm-hmm. And some of those players, good portion of them came from the NWHL. One of those was Haley Skarupa, who played for Connecticut last season and played part of this season with the Boston Pride. Megan Duggan, who's played with Boston and Buffalo, and, of course, Emily Falzer and many others. What was it like seeing many of your friends that you've either played in college with or you played in the NWHL with playing on a platform like the Olympics these past couple weeks?
Well, I felt really excited for them, because we all are working towards the same goal of kind of being the best that we can be as women athletes. So just seeing them and all of them cheering, and it's just such a beautiful photo. I love it. It makes me super happy to see it.
Now, did you stay up and watch any of the games during the Olympics? Because unfortunately for me, most of these games started off at 11:30 at night when I got to be up at 5 in the morning for work. So it made it very difficult on me to try to watch these games.
Yeah, it was pretty hard because I'm actually in school now, so I have to kind of divvy up my time. But I kind of did homework, or I pretended to do homework while watching it, so I was able to stay up.
As long as you're pretending to do something and the game is on, that's all that counts. And and for you also right now, how are things going with Connecticut? I know that they recently lost to Boston. What do you think is needed to happen, especially now that you're in that playoff push? The playoffs are going to be starting in a matter of I think in 2 weeks, I believe, something like that.
So,
what is Connecticut having to do right now to try to get them out of this little rut that they're in?
Yeah, so before this past game, we were actually in an upward swing, and we had a good feeling about going into the playoffs. And we want to be in the third spot. We don't want to be in last place going in, not necessarily because of seeding, because seeding doesn't really matter when there's only 4 teams, and it's a toss-up every game. But we just want to be above the 4th position because of pride, We don't want to be below the Boston Pride.
Right. I like that little, how you worded that right there. Having some pride and not being below the Boston Pride. That was good. That was good.
Thank you.
Oh, and by the way, Shaggy, who is a devout Connecticut Whale fan, the poll has ended, and the jersey has been ordered. And I'm sorry, Sophia, but you did not win the poll. Anya Bottolino did.
I know, it's so hard because I can't really compete. She's got a huge fan base.
Now, but I was looking at the stats, and Anya doesn't have any goals. And my deal is that if you or Anya score any goals, that's when I buy your jersey.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, so you gotta light the lamp.
I know. I kind of go by I go by personality-wise, so I think if me and Anya went head-to-head on that, that'd be kind of the biggest showdown.
Well,
I'll put it like both characters.
Well, I'll put it like this: you're a scientist, so you're a nerd, and that wins with me right off the bat, right there.
You know what? Anya is actually kind of a nerd too. She has a scientific paper published. Fun fact.
There you go. Oh, wait. Shaggy just did a message in our chat room. I stayed up, LOL, miserable next days, but well worth it. Yeah, that's what happens when you stay up late all the time watching hockey.
Yes.
But, so now, I'll let you two get the chime in on this part. I was saving this for near the end, and actually, we're going to end a little earlier than I planned, which is actually perfectly fine by me, because, hey, wow, the Caps are still only losing by 3 right now. It's not any more worse than it is right now. But obviously I haven't talked about any of the Capitals trades on here. I know I talked a little bit about it on Saturday on the main show, and that is the Washington Capitals traded a third-round pick to the Chicago Blackhawks for defenseman Michael Kempny. And then they also traded a fifth-round pick to the Montreal Canadiens for Jacob Jarabek. Jarabek actually was the interesting one, being how Montreal was hoping to keep him around, but then they obviously decided to trade him to the Washington Capitals. I just have to say this right now. This was the best thing that the Capitals could do. Now, for Zach, you have said it, and I've heard Russell say it to me several times, and I've seen your guys' tweets all the times how you guys need to rebuild, and what the Rangers did were the right moves for the New York Rangers to get into that full-blown rebuild mode. For the Washington Capitals, for where they are at right now, trading for Michael Kempny and Jacob Jarabek is the right moves for the Washington Capitals. Would it have been nice to get a Ryan McDonagh in our defensive core? Yeah, because I would have had their three pairs set up right off the bat, and it would have been majestic. You know, you would have had Kempny with John Carlson, Dmitry Orlov with Matt Niskanen, and then Brooks Orpik with Ryan McDonagh. You'd have two pairs that would generate your offense, and one pair is your shutdown pair. You can't go wrong with that at all. Same if the Caps had gone for Jack Johnson, who's with Columbus right now, because I felt the same way about Jack Johnson in his game. But, and this is kind of a call-out, because it needs to be done, Russian Machine Never Breaks has been going on all day about how the Washington Capitals need to trade for Erik Karlsson, a.k.a. a forward who plays defense. We've seen what happens when we traded for an offensive defenseman. His name was Kevin Shattenkirk. He's now with the New York Rangers, albeit sadly out injured right now, and playing a lot better for the New York Rangers before the injury. But you saw what happened. We need more defensive defensemen on this team who can skate the puck. Ryan McDonagh can do it. Jake Johnson can do it. Or Jack Johnson. Yeah. Long day. Forgive me. Trying to track all these trades all day is quite exhausting when you're trying to do your job at the same time. So, when there's talk that should the Capitals inquire about Erik Karlsson? Sure, you should. The asking price was way too high, from what I understood. And not only that, but any trade that involved Erik Karlsson also involved the taking of the contract of Bobby Ryan. And one of the rumors that was going out was that it was going to be a 3-team trade between the Capitals, the Senators, and the Vegas Golden Knights. Where the Vegas Golden Knights was going to take Bobby Ryan, the Capitals were going to take Erik Karlsson, and then I have no idea what the Ottawa Senators are going to get in return for both of those players. Oh, and Shaggy just said that he will definitely get your jersey at some point, Sophia.
Yay.
Cut my little rant here just to let you know that he's getting your jersey at some point.
Good. Yeah, because I was going to have to score for it, but I don't know if I'm not really a goal scorer.
Yeah, just get to the front of the net and just chip away. You know, that's how I score. That's how I score my goals. So
that's how I do it. But I also I'm pretty tall, so I usually screen. That's kind of my thing.
Yeah, Shaggy can tell you. Him and I were going back and forth because we play on the same team. And by the way, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Please come down to Maryland this summer so you can play on our team for at least one game.
Maryland.
Yeah, Maryland.
Wow.
Yeah. Wait, you didn't know that?
No, I didn't know that's where you're from.
Yeah, Shaggy lives in Northern Virginia. I live in right above D.C. in Maryland. So, yeah, come down to...
It's not that far away.
Yeah, come down to Maryland, play on our hockey team for one day. It'll be cool.
I would totally do that.
Bring Anya with you. We need female players. But we just found out that one of our... oh, wait, no, I can't do this on the air. Sorry, Shaggy, you can't find out these details until after our season's over, which will probably be this upcoming Sunday when we get knocked out of the playoffs. But, spoiler alert, something's happening to our roster. But Shaggy and I were going back and forth this season. Shaggy ended up leading the team in goals with 6. I had 5. But I ended up taking the point lead with 10 overall. Shaggy had 8. He had 6 goals, 2 assists. I had 5 goals, 5 assists. And if you actually watch how he scores and watch how I score, most of his goals, I believe, Shaggy, you can correct me. You're in the chat room on this. Most of your goals were either breakaways or slap shots. Most of my goals were jamming in front of the net because I was the guy screening the goaltender. So,
cherry picking.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's how our system is built. Our system is built to have me, essentially, or me or a forward to, when we're in their zone, have a forward in front of the net screening the goalie, and then as rebounds come, you just try to get those dirty goals. It's just, that's how I've always played my entire life, so it's how I do it. And it's the end of the second period, and the Capitals are still down 4-1 in the Columbus. What a dumpster fire. But, so that was, that. So I was going on a Caps thing. We just went to another completely different direction, which is perfectly fine by me. Shaggy's probably tweeting about it right now, how we're talking about DCHL. But for the Capitals, this is the right thing they had to do. The only player I would have traded off the roster, getting back on topic here, is Jacob Vrana. As I've said several times, Jacob Vrana has not been able to build chemistry with anybody on the Capitals team. And Russian Machine Never Breaks loves to use their analytics to try to break down why it's perfect for these guys to be on the team and all this other stuff, and that's fine, but when a guy ain't creating chemistry with his teammates, there is a problem. I think the one analogy I put out today to somebody who asked me about it was, you had Ovechkin with Alex Ovechkin with Evgeny Kuznetsov and Jacob Vrana at the very beginning of the season on the first line. It wasn't working between Vrana and Kuznetsov or Vrana and Ovechkin. You could put Vrana out there now after playing most of the season with the team, put the puck on his stick and say pass it to Ovechkin, and would still find a way to screw it up. That's how it is with this kid right now. Everyone was going on about Andrei Burakovsky, who just signed that massive contract during the offseason. Well, not massive. Okay, massive in terms of money, but not massive in terms of years. Over the summer. He's now getting it back together. He just had that weird run in the beginning of the season, but you always knew what Andrei Burakovsky had. You never saw him have a chemistry issue with anybody. He just wasn't having the right type of luck. Shaggy goes, yeah, more sniping shots for me, which is shocking because I have no accuracy. Hey, how many shots on the power play yesterday did I completely miss that went wide? Like 3 of them? Yeah, I suck too at accuracy. But, Vrana would have been that key piece that I would have traded to the Rangers. Sorry, Zach. That I would have traded to the Rangers for Ryan McDonough off of my roster. Because I think he probably would have been better off on another team. I still think that. But when you look at it straight down, the Capitals, and Zach, you'll agree with me on this one, because you've seen a lot of my Capitals play like I've seen a lot of your Rangers play. The Washington Capitals have always been a top team in the league for so long now that this is the type of season. I've been calling the game that they're playing right now a dumpster fire, because it is right now. But the one thing that has been good for this team this season is this dumpster fire that's happening right now, because this is the adversity that they need to go through in order to win a Stanley Cup. Who better than to do this team with than the team that you've been with all season long and say, no, we aren't going to go outside of Kempney and Jerabek, which are depth defensemen that shores up the depth of the team that really needed to happen and add a little bit more experience. This is the team that you got to go with and say, we're not going to go out and make a massive addition like we can. You're not my second alternate captain, Shaggy. Don't even think about it. Not yet, at least. When Rachel leaves the team after next season, I have a decision I have to make on who's my next assistant captain.
So, your third alternate.
What?
He's your third alternate.
Yeah, he's like my 6th alternate. But look at that, Shaggy. Sophia's even getting in on it. She's totally a street shark. But You would love the
What can I
team.
say? I like to chirp.
You would love our team atmosphere. We're just a fun-loving bunch that loves to chirp at each other. But this is the type of team that the Caps need to go in with into the playoffs. And I feel very confident about that, not because they're going to win the cup, but because they're going to learn something about themselves as a team without bringing in a major addition like a Ryan McDonagh, like an Erik Karlsson, like a Jack Johnson, like a Max Pacioretty. This is something that the Capitals need to learn, and I'm okay with that this season. I'm okay with that next season, too. You ain't hearing me cry about it, like Russian Machine. Oh, and by the way, if anyone's wondering why I keep calling out Russian Machine, hey Shaggy, remember that tournament we won? Yeah, we beat Russian Machine and they're still bitter. And they keep giving us crap about it too, so. We go over by the montage of serious hockey talk for serious hockey fans, and you know what? We proved that, not by talking, but by playing too. So with that, this is the weirdest rant I've ever gone on in my entire life. I am so sorry. So Zach, with that said, please promote Tilted Ice and Forever Blue shirts real quick, my friend.
Yeah, you can follow us on Twitter at the Tilted Ice. We did a live show today recapping the deadline and the Ranger moves. You can follow myself on Twitter at Zach, the number 4, the letter B. And that's Z-A-K. I spell my name weird. You can check us out on blueshirts.com. We had a great day today. We're always looking for hockey enthusiasts to come on the site and comment and stir up trouble within some within respectable bounds, obviously. But definitely check us out on Forever Blue Shirts. And yeah, that's about it.
All right, Miss Sophia, Miss Future Street Shark. Where can the people find you on the social medias?
Yeah, so if anyone's interested in following me to see kind of like the NWHL and the Connecticut Whale, my handle is Sophia, but with an F, so I spelled my name weird too. And then, let's see, _Angelina. And that's it, I think.
That's it? Just that?
I'm going to mess up all the other things I'm going to say. I think my my Instagram is, it's SOPHANGELINA.
Right. So. Well, you know what? I'm going to do this real quick. I'm going to do one better for you. You can also follow the Connecticut Whale on Twitter at CTWhale_NWHL. You can also follow the NWHL by going to @NWHL or by going to nwhl.zone for more information on the league. And of course, I will be having the NWHL game breakdowns this Saturday at 11 a.m. Breaking down, unfortunately, your loss to the Boston Pride yesterday. Sorry, Sophia. And
yeah, it was a bummer.
And of course, the game between the Buffalo Buttes and the Metropolitan Riveters. And then also taking a preview into what will be this weekend's games for the NWHL, plus game breakdowns, which I will try to break down today's game against the Capitals on Saturday as well. You can follow the... Alex was not the MVP. I actually got MVP in that tournament, by the way, because I scored the game-winning goal in the championship game. Yeah. One of my rare moments when I actually get to have an accomplishment like that. But you can follow the show on Twitter at TXHT_hockey, Facebook at facebook.com/TXHT and then you can also join our Patreon community, which we have 4 patrons. 4. No, wait, 5. That's right, we got a 5th one. Yeah, we got a 5th one. Stephanie Phillips from Kicking Ice actually became a patron of TXHT. So definitely thank you so much, Stephanie. She was on the show 2 weeks ago promoting Kicking Ice. Can't wait to actually read that graphic novel. Go to Kickstarter.com and look up Kicking Ice. Shaggy, do the tweet for the Kicking Ice Kickstarter campaign. And then also you can join our Patreon community at patreon.com/TXHT_hockey, which this episode will be uploaded within the hour on there. And of course, follow us here on Twitch at twitch.tv/TXHT_hockey. We are live every Saturday at 11 a.m. You have no excuse to miss us. We're fun. There's less ranting. There's more just actual serious hockey talk. I just went on a weird rant because I had Sophia and Shaggy and... Sorry, Zach. I am so sorry, Zach.
Alright.
Next time will be better, I promise you.
I promise you it's perfectly fine.
Alright, and by the way, real quick, last question for you. When am I going to be on Tilted Ice? I've been hearing from Russell that you guys are going to bring me on, and I'm still waiting to come on the show.
Hey, Russ is the host. You bother him.
I'll beat him up.
Russ is the host.
Alright, I'll lean on him. But
listen, it's the capital, so we got to do a little passive aggressive chirping.
Oh yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that. I mean, what is it? This Sunday, the Street Sharks are in 5th place of our division. We got lucky. We lost 4-1 yesterday, but the team that we needed to lose lost yesterday too. So we got 5th place over them. So we're playing the 4th place team that we actually match up really well against on Sunday for our quarterfinal game. But we'll still probably lose and get eliminated from the playoffs anyways on Sunday. So.
That's the spirit.
Yeah, exactly. It's recreational hockey. We're there to have fun. We're there to have fun. It's fun over competition. Except the playoffs. What was that? What?
I feel like there's always one player on each team that takes it like it's the playoffs every game.
We kind of got rid of that player. We got rid of it because we got tired of all the penalties. Yeah, we got tired of all the penalties. So we kind of let it... You want to go to that division? Go to that division. Now he's like 3rd in the league in penalties. So yeah. But, both of you, thank you so much. And once again, this has been the Experience Hockey Talk, serious hockey talk for serious hockey fans. And we will see you Saturday at 11 a.m. on the ice.